What's up, guys? We're about to do this Week 10 recap, coming off a crazy Monday night. We'll get to that matchup at the end between Cage and Kevin, the matchup of the week. Let's go over some scores. We'll start off with myself and get my W out of the way. I beat Lumen 100.6 to 95.3. Not that good of a matchup. Had Tyrod put up 2 points, Devontae Freeman get concussed. But just not even a fun matchup worth talking about. Lumen under 100, 95.3. I had Emmanuel Sanders and the Patriots defense go off for the Sunday night game. So, woohoo me. I will take my lucky win riding into next week with hopefully some better days ahead of me. Barely scoring 100. 100.6 for me. So not in the under 100 club. Broke my losing streak. Lumen 2-8. You need some W's to finish out, dude. Let's go to the next matchup. Jim Millardo versus Mikey T. Jim 66.8. Mikey T 163.8. Mikey T puts up 163.8 without Ezekiel Elliott. So Mikey T's like, suspension? Nah, I don't care. I'm good. I got Robert Woods who can put up 40 points. So, Jim, got to ask, how does it feel for someone to put up almost 100 more points than you in your matchup? 66.8 points. Let's just take a look. Your defense and your kicker scored 8 points each. That was more than Doug Martin, Charles Clay, T.Y. Hilton, Ted Ginn, Bilal Powell. So just not a week worth having for you, Jim. 66.8. I don't want to harp on it too much, but I felt bad when I scored under 90. I think Lumen hit the 50s. Millardo, you hit the 60s. Woo! And Mikey T looking good. Got Brady and McCaffrey, Robert Woods. I'm not looking forward to facing you this week. I'm glad Christian McCaffrey's on a bye, but Mikey T 7-3. Good job, dude. Next matchup, we got Mike Dinn versus Hofstetter. This was a high-hitting matchup. Mikey Dinn ends up winning 162.9 to 141.7. Dinn's wide receivers just went off. Michael Thomas, Golden Tate, Adam Thielen. Woo! That's a keeper and a half for you. And then his pickup, Marquise Goodwin, all around 20 points or above. Running backs did decent, but that doesn't matter when you've got people putting up 20 and 30 points in your wide receiver spot. Hofstetter coming off a trade, gets Russell Wilson. He puts up 21, but couldn't do it. 141 points. Really, really good effort, but in the end, just had a bad luck of the draw. You would have beat about half the league, but hey, a loss is a loss. So Hofstetter goes down in the standings, but still looking pretty solid from a team perspective. Speaking of keepers, Alvin Kamara, however you want to say it, that is another keeper. People got some good keepers this year. I'm pretty impressed. Next up, we have Costas versus Wyckoff. Costas ends up winning 116.1 to 110.5. Came down to a pretty close matchup. DeAndre Hopkins, 19.1 points for Costas. Number one wide receiver in PPR fantasy this year so far. So kudos to Costas there. Will say, looking at the schedule, this is the week that Costas maybe should have lost. Had Tyreek Hill, had Kareem Hunt on a bye, had Carson Wentz on a bye after Deshaun Watson went down, but Costas still comes off with a W. Wyckoff did decent, but most of his players were on a bye or injured and didn't really have any other bench choices he could have made. So only other thing he could have done was maybe picked a better kicker. His kicker put up 4 points. Maybe if he picked up someone else, it would have made the difference. But close matchup there. Costas, newbie, looking good, looking for that playoff run. Nice win. Next up, we have Omar versus Reg. Omar made some moves around the trade deadline. Looks to be paying off. Omar puts up the W, 147.9 to Reg's 115. You know, he does lose Aaron Jones to an injury, but it doesn't matter. A.J. Green, Devin Funchess put up 20-plus at wide receiver. And Register put up a commendable week, 115, but just not enough to do it. Speaking of keepers, Juju Smith-Schuster, 20.7 points. He is outscoring Antonio Brown these last 2 weeks, so Reg has got a keeper there, so that feels pretty good. Again, Omar moving up in the standings, Register going down, 3-7. All right, let's finish it off with probably the matchup of the week. Cage versus Kevin. Battling for the 6th place playoff spot. Whoever wins goes to 5-5. Whoever loses go to 4-6. Going into that night, Cage had a pretty big lead. He even sent a text out after Graham Gano kicked a field goal and Cam had a few points. I think he said something along the lines of, "I like how this game is going." Then before you know it, Superman Cam just decides to run for 90 yards, puts up almost a whole 40 spot. As it got closer and closer, Miami just sort of gave up. Miami had a chance to take some timeouts at the end of the game with 2 minutes left, so Graham Gano could have kicked a field goal as they were in field goal range, but they just needed out, and Miami let them run the clock out because they were down by like 30 points. So Kevin ends up with a W, 147.8 to 145.5. What a comeback, Kevin. What a win, because now you were tied for 6th in the playoff standings. So that was a not necessarily make or break game, but people are going to have to win out now. I did reach out to some people about some of their matchups and the season going forward. I'll read a few of them off to you. So text over Wyckoff. Wyckoff says, "Love the 16 playoffs. Can't wait for the drama to unfold." Wyckoff, I believe, with Mikey T, has been pushing for a couple years to have 16 playoff. I can admit, as someone who's in the running but not doing too well, but still looking for that 6th spot, I'm a fan of it this year, so can't complain. Texted Cage. Cage said, "It's a tough loss, but with 3 games left, I still have a chance. I just have to go Aaron Rodgers and run the table. It starts with Din this week. 3 wins, must win in a row for Cage." Texted Hofstetter. He said, "I hate losing games. I have the highest points for and points against combo in the league. So while I'm putting up, so are my opponents." Yeah, Hofstetter using math. Don't know what's going on there, like trying to justify stuff. But Hoff's still really thick in the playoff race, so good job to you. And then I did text Jim after his 66 points to see what he thought about the rest of the season. Jim said, "I am just grinding to stay away from the DS, the Dirty Sanchez. My new goal is to play spoiler to someone in the next few weeks." So, Jim, let's see if you can do that. Challenge for the week. Weekly little bonus was longest field goal kick. We had a tie between Kevin and Mike Din. So that will roll over to next week, or to this week. Whoever has the longest field goal kick will get that 20 spot. Just so you guys know, Kevin has won about 4 bonuses, so Kevin's just raking in the dough. This week's challenge is Survivor Pool. So the instructions are as follows. Before Thursday night kickoff, you must text me. You must pick a winner for each fantasy football matchup that we have. So you should be texting me 6 team names, and you should be sending me a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is the combined score for the Monday Night Football game. Whoever is closest, if there is a tie, will use that tiebreaker. This is for $35, so it's a little incentive on top for bonuses. So again, before Thursday kickoff, you must send me Survivor Pool picks for every matchup this week. So please look ahead, take a gander, see who you want to pick for the Survivor Pool. I will be sending my picks to Din ahead of time. That way he knows who I have picked. So Din and I will have all those picks. Again, before Thursday night kickoff. If you do not send it before Thursday night, before the first play, you do not have a chance at this bonus challenge. So please send it in. And finally, let's finish on some standings. We have Costas, first place, 7-3. Mikey Din, 7-3 as well. Kurt Warner Boytoy, 7-3. Mikey T. So we have a first place tie. But points for makes Costas leading. He's got about a 40-point edge on Din. Next up, we have Steven Hofstetter at 6-4, Wyckoff at 6-4. They're holding on right there. We have Kevin tied for 6th place. So if the season were to end today, Kevin would be the last playoff spot at 5-5. I'm right on his tail at 5-5. Omar's 5-5. Then we have Cage at 4-6. And then we start to get to the bottom of the barrel. 3-7, Matty Reg. Malardsky, 3-7. And then finally, Jason Lumen, 2-8. So, there's a race for the Dirty Sanchez, and there is a race for the playoff spot. The first through the 6th seed, I apologize, all 6 spots can still be determined. Just because you're in first place now does not mean you could end up in maybe 4th or 6th place later on. So, this is going to be down to the wire, I believe. Good luck. Let's get some smack talking in. Let's see what happens these last 3 weeks of the regular season. And please send me your picks for the Survivor Pool Challenge for the Fantasy Football. And again, that is for our Fantasy Football League. You're picking 6 teams. Send them my way. All right, guys. Peace.